Welcome to Agoracom Small Cap Breaking News, your daily go-to source for the best small cap headlines for over 65 million investors since 2007. Today, we're taking a rapid deep dive into 4 really critical news releases, all from the small cap exploration sector.
That's right. And we're zeroing in, really focusing strictly on the headlines, the hard drilling numbers, the financial metrics, basically the stuff that grabs investor attention.
Exactly. We want to give you the facts you need, to decide where you might want to focus your research next, cutting through the noise.
Okay, so let's get started. Where are we heading first?
First up, Mexico. High-grade silver. We're looking at Capitan Silver core. That's TSX-V, symbol CAPT.
Yes, CAPT.
The headline's pretty eye-catching. Capitan Silver core intersects 1,767 grams per ton, silver equivalent over 1.5 meters.
Wow.
Within a wider zone of 234.2 grams per ton, silver equivalent over 25.9 meters at the Jesus Maria silver trend.
Okay, so that first number, 1,767 grams per ton, AgEq silver equivalent, that jumps right out. That is definitely high grade.
It really is. But like I said, it's over just 1.5 meters.
Yeah.
So for you, the learner, how significant is that narrow width? Does it potentially complicate things? Or is that grade just so high?
Well, that's always the question with these bonanza grades, right? But look, typical big silver mines might run, say, 100, maybe 200 grams per ton average.
Right.
This is 10 times that. So even if it's narrow, it suggests potential for very high margin ounces. But crucially, like the headline says, it sits inside that much wider zone.
Nearly 26 meters.
Exactly, almost 26 meters, grading over 234 grams per ton silver equivalent. That's still very strong grade over a really decent width.
And there was more in that hole too, wasn't there?
Yeah, drill hole 25, ERRC 26, the same one. It actually had a massive envelope, over 87 meters downhole, grading above 25 grams per ton AgEq.
Okay, so you've got this super high-grade core, a strong wider zone, and then this big low-grade halo.
Precisely. It points towards maybe a larger system than initially thought. And strategically, this is important for Capitan. They had a huge hit back in September.
I remember that one, over 2,600 grams.
Right. So this new drilling confirms that wasn't just, a fluke. Their CEO basically said this proves it's not an anomaly. It's part of a growing high-grade system.
Which makes their big drill program look pretty smart.
Absolutely. It validates their fully funded 15,000-meter program. And keep in mind, they still have assays pending for 25 more holes.
So lots more news potentially coming down the pipe for CAPT.
Definitely. They're tracing this thing over about 1.7 kilometers now. Steady news flow is likely.
Okay, let's shift gears. Moving north to Manitoba, Canada. Gold this time. A restart story.
All right. Who are we looking at?
1911 Gold Corporation. Symbol AUMB on the TSX venture.
AUMB.
Got it. Headline. 1911 Gold intersects up to 24.83 grams per ton. Gold over 2.60 meters on San Antonio West at the True North Gold Project.
Okay, 24.83 grams per ton gold. Again, that's a really solid grade, especially over 2.6 meters.
And they had an even higher subinterval in there, right? Over 63 grams.
Yeah, 63.2 grams per ton gold over half a meter. Narrow? Yes, but very high grade. Definitely in line with what makes underground mines work globally.
And it wasn't just that one zone. They hit elsewhere too, like the Annex zone.
That's right. They reported 8.75 grams per ton gold over 2.6 meters in the Annex zone as well. Finding multiple high-grade areas is key for any restart. You need feed for the mill from different spots.
Which brings us to the big strategic advantage here. Location. This isn't out in the middle of nowhere.
Not at all. This is near mine. It's right there, close to their existing operational and fully permitted True North mill.
And the underground infrastructure is already there too.
Exactly. That's the whole point. They can leverage all that previous investment. The True North complex historically produced 1.3 million ounces. The average grade was about 9.33 grams per ton.
So these new grades are significantly higher than the historical average.
Correct. And these results extend one of the key systems, the San Antonio West or SAMW, down to 630 meters below surface. It really strengthens the argument for restarting the mine, potentially at a higher grade.
And they've made a key operational shift too, haven't they, moving the drills?
Yes, big signal there. They've finished the surface drilling for now and shifted underground, drilling from level 16.
Which tells you.
It usually means they're moving into a higher confidence stage. Underground drilling is often more efficient for defining resources, figuring out exactly where the ore is and how they'd mine it.
Okay, interesting. Let's pivot again. Different commodity, different place. Critical minerals in Quebec.
All right. Quebec's Abitibi region is always busy.
This one's Renforth Resources, Inc., symbol RFR on the CSE. The headline is a bit different, more formal.
Okay, RFR. What's the news?
Renforth files Malartic Metals Package Critical Minerals, NI 43101 Technical Report, including initial Victoria nickel sulfide polymetallic deposit inferred mineral resource estimate.
Ah, the NI 43101. Okay, that's significant.
Let's break that down. For you, the learner, why is filing an NI 43101 report such a big deal?
Well, NI 43101 is the Canadian standard for reporting mineral projects. It means the information, the geology, the drilling, the resource estimate has been reviewed and signed off by an independent expert, a qualified person.
So it adds a layer of credibility.
The huge layer, it moves it beyond just company promotion. It's standardized, regulated disclosure that, frankly, serious investors and institutions look for.
And the key technical piece in this report is that initial resource estimate for their Victoria nickel deposit.
Exactly. An inferred mineral resource estimate. That's the first official category. It means they have enough drilling and geological understanding to estimate the potential size and grade.
And it's polymetallic, nickel plus other stuff.
Right. Nickel sulfide, but likely copper, cobalt, other things often found together. This officially puts Renforth into that critical minerals conversation. The metals needed for batteries, electrification.
And what about the project itself? Any logistical advantages mentioned?
Big ones. They describe Victoria as an open pit style target. Generally, that means lower mining costs compared to deep underground mines.
Easier access.
Much easier. Plus, it's road accessible, and apparently a high voltage power line already runs right across the property. That's huge in a place like the Abitibi. Infrastructure makes or breaks projects.
So the strategy here seems to be diversification, not just gold.
Absolutely. This Malartic Metals package they talk about has this new nickel resource. They've also found copper nearby at Beaupré. They're looking for lithium. And they have traditional gold targets.
All on one property.
All on one large land package. So it's a multi-commodity play hitting those energy transition themes, but formalized now with a NI 43101.
Okay, one more stop. Back to Mexico, back to silver, and another potential restart.
Seems to be a theme today. Who is it this time?
Silverco Mining Ltd., TSX Venture symbol, SICO.
SICO. Okay.
Headline: Silverco Mining expands on San Miguel target, drilling 8.6 meter Ds, grading 250 grams per ton AGQ and 2.1 meter, grading 1,042 grams per ton AG at the Cusi property, Chihuahua, Mexico.
Wow, okay. 1,042 grams per ton, silver equivalent over 2.1 meters. That's another eye popper.
And they even had another intercept, 1.4 meters at almost 1,900 grams per ton AG.
Yeah, 1,868 grams. Those are the kinds of grades that can really sweeten the economics of a project, even over narrower widths.
And just like 1911 gold, the context here is key. This isn't a brand new discovery site.
Not at all. The Cusi property was actually producing silver up until September 2023.
Go very recently.
Very recently. They have a 1,200 ton per day mill and all the associated infrastructure sitting right there.
So SICO's goal isn't discovery, it's justification.
Pretty much. It's a classic restart play. The strategy is to define a larger and crucially higher grade resource than what the previous operator was mining to justify turning that mill back on.
And how are they doing that differently? What's their approach?
They're drilling deeper. Previous operators apparently focused mostly on the top 100 meters or so. Silverco is going down to around 300 meters.
And finding?
They're finding that the key vein structure, San Miguel, seems to be getting wider at depth. And it's still open, meaning it hasn't pinched out yet.
Wider veins at depth, still open. That's exactly what you want to hear if you're trying to build a bigger resource.
Precisely. It suggests the previous miners might have just been, scratching the surface of the main system. Finding thicker, high-grade zones deeper down is the catalyst they need.
And they seem confident about the timeline.
Their CEO, Mark Aranto, mentioned they believe these high-grade results could pave the way for a restart possibly as early as next year.
So definitely one to watch.
Yeah.
And their drill program is still ongoing.
Yeah, they said their 15,000-meter program is about two-thirds done. So, like Capitan, expect more news flow from SICO probably into early 2026.
Okay, so let's try and tie these four stories together. What's the common thread you see?
Well, despite the different metals and locations, it really comes down to demonstrating continuity and potential scale, often by hitting high grades. Capitan is showing their initial big hit wasn't isolated.
Right, building out a system.
1911 gold is adding high-grade ounces near existing infrastructure to make the restart economics work better.
Leveraging sunk costs.
Yeah. Renforth is using the formal NI 43-101 process to put an official stamp on their critical minerals potential, also highlighting infrastructure advantages.
De-risking through regulation and logistics.
And Silverco is drilling deeper below a known mine, finding wider, high-grade zones, again, right next to an existing mill.
Another infrastructure play, essentially.
Yeah, they're all fundamentally trying to prove their resource is bigger, better, or more strategically positioned than previously thought, significantly de-risking the path forward.
So wrapping this up for you, the learner, we've seen some really compelling drill results and a key regulatory step today from the CAPT, AUMB, RFR, and SICO. They've definitely moved the needle.
They have. These intercepts, these initial resource estimates, they're crucial milestones, but, drill results don't pay the bills directly.
Right. That's the critical next step, isn't it? Converting geology into economics.
Exactly. The challenge for all these companies now is to translate these exciting findings into bankable economic studies.
So the thing to watch for next is probably the preliminary economic assessment, the PEA.
That's the big one. The PEA is really the first comprehensive look at whether a project could actually be a profitable mine. It estimates capital costs, operating costs, payback, all of that.
It takes those grams per ton and meters and turns them into potential dollars and cents.
Precisely. That PEA, or updates to resource estimates moving from inferred to indicated or measured categories, that's what will truly show if these drilling successes can underpin a real high-margin operation. That's the next hurdle they all need to clear.